And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for We Told You So, Episode 7. Now, while I tried to warn people for months here, the people on the far left who were not going to vote for Kamala Harris, I tried warning them that the Palestinians in Gaza already wanted Kamala Harris to win. In fact, they wanted anyone except Donald Trump. But people on the far left still continued to do things like not vote or vote for Jill Stein and completely act against the Palestinians they supposedly care about. And now after Donald Trump's win, in places like Chicago, we had Palestinians protesting his win. While all these people on the left were riding on their moral high horses thinking that not voting for Harris was going to send a message that we draw the line at G-side. Yet the Palestinians here are pretty pissed about people's decision to stay home and allow Donald Trump to win. Especially when everybody was showboating and pretending they cared about Gaza. And really, they just opened the doors and gave the keys to the authoritarian who told Netanyahu, do whatever you have to do to win. He's not going to stand in Netanyahu's way. He's not going to issue any restrictions on weapons like Biden did. He's not going to speak out on a ceasefire like Kamala Harris did. He's not going to build a new port for the Palestinians in order to get them aid and food. He's going to sit back and watch Netanyahu destroy Gaza so that he can build beachfront properties. And all these people on the far left who were pitching a fit about Kamala Harris and the Democrats just handed the country over to the guy who is going to guarantee the destruction of Gaza. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. The Watermelon Brigade's tactics and their concept of their plan was entirely brain dead. Mainstream media is also finding out after the fuck around phase, where they decided for years, especially leading up to the election, to not hold Donald Trump accountable for any of his fascist rhetoric or the things he said he was going to do, trying to keep themselves relevant just for money and clicks. Meanwhile, Trump has many times issued threats, including recently, about putting the crosshairs on the media, completely taking away freedom of the press and having journalists locked up. In fact, he wants governmental control over the FCC to have state-run media, just like in Russia and North Korea. We told you so. And while it still does not make any sense that Kamala Harris would have lost every single swing state, the only one that would have made sense to me would have been Michigan because of the large Arabic population there that had been brainwashed into thinking that Harris would be a worse choice for Gaza. However, once again, I have to point out that these Michigan activists who voted to abandon Biden and abandon Harris was started by treasonous Trump humper General Michael Flynn, who had been courting the racist MAGA mayor of Hamtramck and the Arabic community for a few years now, since about 2021. He got that Muslim mayor who endorsed Trump to tell the citizens of Hamtramck and the surrounding areas that they should vote for Donald Trump. Across the country, the trend was that Muslim and Arabic voters were actually endorsing Kamala Harris. But this had a big impact in Michigan. Tons of Muslim and Arabic voters turned out against their own interests to vote for a man who actively wants to deport them and ban them from the country. Make that make sense. We told you so. Jill Stein ended up winning 22% of the vote in Dearborn, purely from people voting third party because they were told not to vote for Harris. And they thought that voting for Jill Stein would somehow not result in a Trump win. These Jill Stein voters are now regretting their decision as they realize, as people like I have said multiple times in the past, that Jill Stein is a grifter and a Russian asset. She's a hypocrite who does absolutely nothing for 4 years and then shows up a couple months before an election to siphon votes from the Democrats, jumping on the bandwagon of whatever the latest hot-button issue is, like Gaza. She started saying, I'm going to be an anti-G-side president. She siphoned off about 30 to 50,000 votes in several states. She knew she was never going to win the vote. In fact, as I've stated before, there was a Green Party rally about a month before the election where Jill Stein spoke. And the speaker before her said, we are in no position to win the White House. They know that they are not going to win the presidency. Their only goal was, quote, to do something historic and take away a Michigan victory from Kamala Harris. They knew the entire time that they were helping Trump. Yet what does Jill Stein have to say about the election results? She said, once again, the two-party system has delivered a disastrous result for the American people. The Democrats have no one to blame but themselves for losing to Trump again. Again, after this woman does nothing for 4 years and then just shows up to complain about Gaza, pulling votes away from the Democrats and then blaming the Democrats that it's their fault. Now that she got all that money from your donations and she lost, she can now slink back into the woods for another 4 years, and she can come back a few months before the election in 2028 to sucker you guys all over again into throwing your vote away. Meanwhile, Salon actually did a nice little big piece about the 6 big lies that won Trump the election, and how a lot of people fell for his gaslighting. The meat and potatoes of it being things that he said like, I'm not perfect, which means your expectations that I behave like a human are unreasonable. Confronted with bad things that he did in the past, he would say, this is more than a decade-old video, which means it was a long time ago, so why are you fussing about the things that I've done in the past? These words do not reflect who I am. That actually just translates to, the reality that you just experienced didn't actually happen. Don't believe your own eyes and ears. Donald Trump has been telling his followers for years to ignore what's happening right in front of their face, and they dutifully did. He told them that the prices were going to go down, he was going to make the economy wonderful, even though the economy's already been doing great under Joe Biden. And just like last time, Donald Trump is going to slowly tank it into the ground. His mass deportations and tariffs, according to economists, are set to drive our unemployment well above 10%, and are set to push our inflation well over 11 or 12%. As we've already seen in the last couple days, companies have already started denying bonuses, laying people off, and increasing their prices in preparation for Donald Trump's tariffs. They are buying up as much as they can right now before the cost of their raw materials and supplies skyrockets. Which means Donald Trump has not even taken office yet, and companies are already increasing their prices because they know it's going to be bad. So all you people who got suckered under Donald Trump when he said the higher the tariff the better, you just got screwed over and all your prices are increasing. Even though, once again, we told you so several hundred times. Gas prices are going to go up too, the one thing that you guys seem to care about more than anything else. The cost of everything is going to go up under Donald Trump. He completely lied right to your face, with those stupid lawn signs that said Trump low prices, Harris high prices. He suckered you into buying a Chinese-made sign that lied to your damn face. And you still voted for him. I hope in a few months when you lose your job, lose your house, lose your Social Security, lose your benefits, and you can't afford groceries anymore, I hope that you have even a nanosecond of self-reflection to blame this on the right person. Because if you're still at that point blaming old presidents like Biden or Obama, you truly are lost. It means that you will continue to lick the feet of Donald Trump well after he bankrupts you and destroys your life. Once again, this has been We Told You So. The find out phase for a lot of ignorant voters is going to take a long time.